I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the At Random podcast. I'm your host Alex, and joining me today is our spiritual leader. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. The only man near the mid-30s that shits himself.
Baby, today is my last day as co-pilot. I'm so happy. Oh, God, I'm finally going to be a pilot. I'm going to fly this plane. I'm going to come back tonight. And then we'll celebrate because I'll be a pilot. All right, I got to go, baby. Because I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll return again. Ha 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 ha! Yeah! 239 people were died. Fuck you all. Fuck everybody.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that he's back. I regret it.
This is gonna be me the entire episode. Just you are.
Ali, can you bring some sanity here, Ali? How are you doing?
Good.
There's a new strain of COVID. Everybody's gonna die.
I'm doing fine. At least I'm not him, so
Thank God.
Yeah.
The show's going off the rails.
It's off to a brilliant start. Already.
Yeah. So, but I do feel like this episode of the MH370, 390, something.
Yep, 370.
It needed an intro like this because we're gonna talk about all the wacky shit now.
Oh yeah, and there is some pretty fucking retarded things that people think about this flight.
I had the best week in a long time researching all of this.
Well, if you haven't guessed by the title of this episode, then I'd probably wonder if you can read. This is part 3 of our and final part of the Malaysia Airlines MH370 sort of, I wouldn't say investigation, because I mean we didn't investigate shit, just basically telling you information that I read and then giving you some opinions and stuff. And so the first 2 parts we sort of went over what happened, how the investigators sort of thought, and came away with the beautiful insight at the end of part 2 that they don't fucking know anything. So now we're going to give some insights into some of the conspiracies and maybe what we think actually happened, and we probably know more than the investigators at this point, you know? I mean, about 2 hours worth of this podcast.
Oh, by the way, can I reiterate with something that I heard? I listened back to the episodes because I am a good co-host, and that's what a good co-host does. And I got some things I wanted to say. One, you guys questioned if depressurizing was automatically or if it was done by the pilot. And depressurizing the plane is usually done by the pilot. So if the plane was depressurized, which is one of the theories, is that by a guy with a ponytail, by the way, just putting that out there, the guy that investigated this had a hairdo that was party business in the front and party in the back. He had a ponytail. I'm not shitting you. But they were Australian, so probably criminals. But I looked into that. Depressurizing a plane like that is usually done manually. It'll like level itself out throughout the flight if they go lower or higher. But the actual completely depressurizing, so everybody's asleep and nobody's going to respond to anything that happens in the cabin, is done manually. So
okay, well, there you go.
There you go. I also wrote down, I thought it was very curious how Ali kept trying to talk about the truth while Alice kept shoving that aside, saying it was for the next episode, quote unquote.
Yeah, this one's over here, you fucking idiot.
I just godsmacked that you would, shove aside the truth like that, Alex. Okay. You know,
what is the truth?
There's a lot of truth out there, buddy. there's different theories of that.
There is, yeah.
And then I also have one point that says talk about the investigator's ponytail. But I already did that, so...
You did that.
Apparently that was a big thing for me, the ponytail.
So what's this truth you're talking about?
There's so much. There's so much. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, which is the theories that I want to, that I tend to follow, because Alex told me you were following the theory of
the free scale semiconductor, like they had a patent for stealth technology. But now I've looked into it. That's bullshit. Fuck them.
Yeah. I actually follow the theory of suicide.
Yeah.
Because of two reasons. One is I watched a YouTube video of 60 minutes, which I want those 60 minutes back. But hey, you know, that's where the ponytail guy comes in, by the way. These were the investigators that were investigating the whole thing. One of the things you didn't mention that I thought was very important is that the first week of the investigation, they were looking in the wrong place because of a fuck up of the Malaysian government not giving forward the proper information. So
they fucked up a lot of stuff too.
it was fucking incredible. But like the Malaysian Airlines didn't say to the guys that were looking for the plane that they were looking in the wrong place. I don't know what the fuck happened there. But the first week or the first couple of days, they were looking in the wrong fucking place. And the Malaysian government kept quiet for some reason. They weren't like, oh, it's not over there. It should be somewhere over there. No. Malaysian government, after a week, I think it was the president or whatever is in charge in Malaysia, came forward and actually said on national TV. They didn't get a briefing. They got this from national fucking TV, by the way. He went on and saying like, oh, well, they're looking in the wrong place and blah, 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 blah. And then the Australians got involved because the airplane was closer to them than... So for a week on end, you know, everybody was already dead. 239 people died. Remember that family of 9 or 7? Dead.
6.
Fucking hell. Oh, boy. But, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, there is so much stuff that, like, was fucked up, or, like, why didn't you say this sooner, or conflicting information. So, and I know this is going to come up, but, like, you guys, I guess, have both read about the flight simulator that the pilot had.
Oh, yeah.
So the pilot had a flight simulator, like, you know, a lot of pilots do. You know, he was enthusiast.
But that's just even something you mentioned in the first episode, that he would upload YouTube videos on how to fly planes. So he had a full-on flight simulator at home.
So, of course, one of the things they looked into, like the FBI and the Malaysian police and all that looked into was, oh, well,
like
is there anything on here we can find? Yeah, they confiscated it. And some tabloids came out a few months after the crash and said that, oh, they found some possible, like, almost an identical route to the one we think that they ended up taking to crash into the ocean. Yeah, then the FBI came out in December 2014 and were like,
found the exact, the last recorded route was the exact route he took. Listen, 60 Minutes is not going to lie about this, buddy.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The FBI came out in December 2014 and said, no, we haven't found anything. That's a lie. And
the
then in
FBI killed John F. Kennedy. You can't trust these people, Alex.
I know, but then in 2016, it came out like, oh, well, actually, we found like almost an identical route.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
On the guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why didn't you say this in 2014? Why are you waiting 2 years after the... Like, there's so much here that just doesn't make any sense.
All right, but but before we get into the whole, you know, what actually happened, aliens, I want to know from each of us, like, Alex is following the what theory? Like, what's your theory?
Oh, I've switched now.
All right.
I'm on the Americans did it theory. This theory, it's reasonably well fleshed out.
All right. Well, let's get into that later. I'm on the suicide thing because there's actually a pilot that was able in Germany, to do the exact same thing. Yes, it was with a smaller airplane, but all he had to do to keep the cabinet quiet was depressurize the whole plane, and boom, everybody's asleep, so nobody would know. Blah 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 blah. You know,
doesn't matter either way because like they can't get into the cockpit. Do anything to stop the pilot.
But this guy, the Germany guy, waited.
Was he the guy that crashed into the Alps or something?
Yeah. Everybody died.
There's plenty of stories like that with suicide pilots. It's not just a German guy. There's a bunch of them.
But after him, that's when they brought in locking doors to lock out hijackers. After that.
And he also, he waited until the co-pilot had to go to the bathroom and then just locked the door and did whatever he wanted to do. So, which is crazy. But like this happened in Germany and you can find it online. It's just a guy.
German wings or German Air wings or something
like that. Something like that.
In like 2015.
So I do believe that like stress can have a big impact on a person's life, and you know we know that he had an affair and all that bullshit. So maybe the woman
we don't know. These are all alleged things. So.
Yeah. But still, like if that was the case, then. And the woman would come out and say like, oh, I'm going to tell everything to your wife and you're going to lose everything, blah, blah, blah. You're up there, you're thinking like, or you're on the ground and you're thinking like, how the fuck am I going to get out of it? Well, I'm going to take my own life. I think if you're past a certain point of depression, even the responsibility of 239 people is not going to stop you. People are very selfish in nature. And so I wouldn't be surprised of somebody doing something like that. So I tend to follow the suicide thing myself. And Ali, what
this is suicide. Like for me, there's nothing else. Like that is.
So you and Andy are you're in a team. You're in agreement.
No.
So he's suicided in a different way.
Wait.
What did you do? Like jump out of the plane and just.
You just want to.
I don't want to agree with anything you say. That's just it. Okay. Whatever you say, I say the opposite, but still saying the same.
All right,
but we're not the same.
Well, I think it's aliens then.
Maybe in your way he suicided different. In Andy's way he deliberately crashed a plane. Maybe in your way he just like, I don't know, jumped out the cargo bay door or something and just left everyone to their own devices.
There you go.
Me and Andy might have the exact same route, but don't put me in the same boat as Andy.
Oh, come on.
For the love of God.
Come on now. Hey.
You know what? We can assign you the free scale semiconductor one if you want. I got the notes here. I'll just pass them over. You can read them.
No, thank you.
I read into that and I was like, this is bullshit. I looked at the patent dates. Didn't add up.
Yeah. All right. So get into it. What do you got?
Well, very first, because I mentioned in episode 1, let's just look at the free scale semiconductor like very quickly. Yeah. It's bullshit, people. It's wrong.
Well, it might be. Hey, you know.
Yeah, well. So if you remember in episode 1, I said there was like Chinese employees of this American-based semiconductor manufacturer called Freescale Semiconductors, and they were making like a stealth, like cloaking technology, radar technology. So there was a theory that they were about to file a patent a couple days after the flight, and 4 senior people were on board this flight who had a 20% stake each, and then the company had a 20%, the other 20%.
Yeah, exactly.
So the theory goes that the company deliberately, killed them so that they could take full ownership of the patent. Except if you look at it, the patent is patent number 8671381, if you want to Google it for whatever reason. I looked at the dates, they don't add up. They started filing the patent years before, and then I think it got finalized like 2018. There was nothing around that March 2014 when this was alleged to have happened. Because, you can see patent records. They're public records. So you can see when... I don't think it was true. But there was a retired Delta Airlines captain, Field McConnell, who's a lunatic, by the way. He has like other 9/11 theories that somehow link with MH370. So when I read that, I'm like, yeah, this guy's fucking off his tree. But he believes that it was either the US... thought that China was going to capture this technology when they landed in Beijing, so that the US shot the plane down, or that China intercepted it and then made them land in a rural airfield in China and basically took all the people prisoner and now have the technology. That's his theory.
Also, isn't there this theory that they captured them via this military landing island?
Oh, that's the one I'm going to say where the US did it.
Yeah.
That's the real truth, people.
No, it's not. But but yeah, there was this. There's nowhere near. By the way, the trajectory of where it pinged, where it like gave off location, is nowhere near.
Yeah, but they're fabricated by the US military.
Oh, fuck off. Yeah, but like there's this island, there's this military base.
It's called Diego Garcia in the British territory of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you want to have an idea in your head, what I want you to do is close your eyes for a second, and then you have a trajectory that just goes straight in front of you, like a straight line. Now look to your left a little bit in your imagination, and then look behind you a little bit in your imagination, and that's where you'll find the airbase. Like, it was like 250 kilometers or something away from what they thought.
More.
Like, it was close, but like...
Yeah, it's like halfway between, I think it was like Mozambique and Indonesia or something.
Yeah,
like it was in the middle of fucking nowhere.
The suspected crash site is like nowhere near where they want.
Well, yeah, and there's two theories to do this too. There's one that the US military ordered that plane for whatever reason, probably for this cloaking technology or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Either they ordered them to fly to this airbase. So just so people know, it's a US military like airbase.
Yeah.
On a place called Diego Garcia, which is just like an atoll. So it's basically a tiny little sandbar of ring of island with literally an airfield on it, and that's it. Like there's no town. Like, people don't live there.
No.
It is just a military base that they've used in like the Afghan war and things like that to like send aircraft. And they used They used to refuel people on the way from between Asia and Guantanamo Bay. They use that as a refueling station and stuff. So it's a little bit, mysterious, has some mystique about it. So one theory is the US military just ordered the pilot, like, hey, you have to come here.
Yeah.
Or the pilot apparently had allegedly on his flight simulator had tried to like simulate landing on that airstrip or similar airstrips around there, so that people think that maybe the pilot tried to fly there.
No.
And then the US military, like, what the fuck, there's an unidentified aircraft, and went boom, boom, and shot it down. That's one of the other two theories. So either the US shot it down or they stole the plane, I guess.
Yeah.
But then what happened to the people? Like, what are they now just stuck on this fucking shithole?
No, they just kill them. Just kill them.
I mean, like, maybe they shipped him off to Guantanamo.
It's what the Americans do.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in a school and shot them all.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But what's even more ridiculous about this is, like, someone actually asked at a White House. You know how in the White House they have briefings in the morning some days, every week or whatever?
Yeah.
On the March 18th, 2014, so like 10 days after the crash or the plane disappeared, a guy actually asked the press secretary, like, in the meeting at the White House, like, did you guys intercept this plane? Is it in Diego Garcia? Like, I read this on the internet, and the guy's just like, I'll rule that one out. Like,
I remember that.
Because they would tell you the truth.
Yeah. So there's like a video. But there's a video here you can watch of some guy just like like a press guy asking the press secretary.
It's probably the guy from UFOs.com or something.
And some what's his name, Mark Digan, the former CEO of a like Proteus airline, which is like a defunct French airline. He claims that he knows for a fact that the plane went to Diego Garcia and that British intelligence told him to stop probing the investigation. Otherwise people will come looking for him. And he's like adamant, like, no, the plane is there. But this guy's also a novelist now. So, he can spin a good tale.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
One thing I want to cover as far as this plane goes and its landing path, there's two possible outcomes. If they follow the trajectory that, the US quote unquote released, All the bullshit aside, there's two possible outcomes if they follow the track that they pinged themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
It's one is a straight dive towards the ocean. It's like a nosedive straight towards the ocean, boom, clap, everything just fucking flying everywhere. Everybody dies instantly.
You mean like
and
a spinning out of control nosedive into the ocean?
No. This is not controlled whatsoever. So
no, it's just
if anything happened to the pilot and the co-pilot at the same time, which is unheard of, but still, let's not rule out anything because
they could have been sharing heroin for all we know, and
fucking because pilots are never drug tested.
And planes don't disappear.
Yeah, well, it was Malaysia. But next to that, there's also the possibility of a controlled, and they shown, I recommend everybody to watch the 60-minute thing on YouTube. There's
Is it the Australian 60 Minutes or the US one?
No, it's the Australian. It's the Australian. I thought they were pretty, on point with the things they said.
Well, there are two different 60 Minutes about this flight.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you have the one where they talk to a bunch of people and other pilots, but then you have one with the actual investigation team when they go over and they have a bunch of specialists and they talk over the whole thing.
I don't really care about the public opinion in this point. I'd rather listen to guys that are actually paid to investigate fucking airplane crashes, so I went with that one.
We're not talking public opinion. We're talking about the Prime Minister of Australia at the moment when this incident happened. Also, other very experienced... Tony? Yeah, little Tony. And also other very experienced pilots that actually show, like, they say they know exactly where the plane is. And that the investigation is looking in the completely wrong space.
The crew of the guys that after more than 100 years discovered the wreck of the Titanic was looking for this fucking plane. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody had the exact locations of where it would, I think it would have been found, because these guys are doing I think it's around and about 250 kilometers per day that they're looking at with their fucking robots and all that shit. Like, it's a tremendous amount of surface in the water that they're covering. It's incredible how these guys are doing it.
Yeah, but you also have to think of that it's been so many years, and you have, obviously it's the Indian Ocean, you have water currents, and obviously the plane is designed differently to what a boat is, for example, in weight and stuff like that. Shit moves.
Wait, you mean boats don't fly?
Well,
I'm gonna throw this microphone instead.
If you throw them hard enough, they might. Yeah, but anyway, so the second opinion is that the plane started losing its engines, and then he sort of regained control of the plane and then glided down, which would have put him a lot further than originally they would have projected that he would have landed. But it wouldn't have been a big difference. I think it was... I can't remember. Yeah, so the landing site wouldn't have been the exact same as they were searching for.
But close-ish, relatively speaking.
Well, the problem is that they would have had to look in a different part of the ocean than they were looking at that point.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of the researchers said. That's... and those the 60 Minutes of Australia asked the question, are we looking in the wrong spot? And there was one guy that said, well, I believe we are. I don't know if it was Ponytail or who it was, but I think they should at least try and look at every possibility and not just pin it down to one location.
Yep.
Problem is, of course, and will always be money. I mean, that's the only thing that's keeping them from really looking, because this isn't like a $25 a day sort of deal. This is like a sort of $1 million investment to find a plane. And I think...
Yeah, but they spent $155 million already before they postponed it.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. How much is human life worth when it comes to discovering? I just think people reach a point where they're like, all right, well, this costs enough. Yeah, we're not pumping in more money into this.
Yeah.
I doubt they're ever gonna find it, and if they do, it'll be a fluke sort of thing.
Probably on Diego Garcia.
Yeah,
They've all been enlisted as like refuelers,
but
military aircraft.
But did you find anything else that you followed? Because there's a bunch of theories out there.
I think the rest of them were more or less so stupid. The remaining ones, a lot of them anyway, or like a lot of holes in the story.
Yeah,
there was a thing that relatives, apparently anyway, it was never really confirmed, but they had tried to call their relative that was on the flight, like their mobile phone, like their cell phone, after they had crashed within days afterwards, and they said that it would ring.
Okay.
You know, they would get a ring, like instead of just like a, you know, tone, like, you know, out of service or what, can't reach it.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they went and we're like, oh, you know, shit, like maybe they must still be alive. But then after like a telecommunications expert came out and said it's what they call a ringback, which is what can happen if this like services can find the phone. It will still make a ringing sound because it's basically searching like all over the world to try to find the device. So people, of course, took that and sort of went, oh, well, but you know, they must have still been alive, so therefore they did land on Diego Garcia, or they landed somewhere in Kazakhstan in some fucking, where the Russians tried to launch their space program in the 80s, and it's like, just, you people are, just stop internet. It was just internet people.
Is it just internet people, or is it people that had relatives on the flight?
Yeah, but I think they came out and said, oh, look, I heard a ringing, but then obviously people on the internet perpetuate it. And then that, if anything, makes more harm. And there's also a lot of, like, I consider them scumbags, but like people that within a few months of the plane disappearing were like releasing books, like, you know, oh, the untold truth of MH370 or the, and it's like, man, like that is so insensitive and just... You're writing, like, two guys from New Zealand released a book in, like, May or something, like 2 months after the plane disappeared.
Of course.
Yeah, with all these conspiracy theories, and you're like, dude, you're just trying to cash in, like, you're a prick.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
But, of course, that perpetuated the whole thing. Say, like, with this cell phone that rang, there was also the co-pilot. Apparently, I think it might have been confirmed, but his cell phone, they got a connection just after the plane disappeared off radar, or either just after or just before. And so they think he tried to make a phone call to, I think it was to his girlfriend, but they're like unconfirmed sort of rumors. Yeah. But again, like, what does that mean? Maybe he was trying to ring his girlfriend and say, hey, the pilot's like gone fucking nuts.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, sorry, baby, like, I miss you, but I'm going to die because this fucking idiot's going to kill us all.
I guess I'm not coming home again, Cherry.
Yeah. Oh, no, the best one. I mentioned this to Ali.
God.
Right, so we all know what black holes are, right? I think, Andy, you even talked about this a few episodes ago. That, you know, we know that they exist kind of theoretically. Because by the time we ever noticed that there was a black hole, it would be too late. So this woman asked some, like, expert at a really well-established US university. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but she's like, could it have been possible for a black hole to have just, like, a small black hole to have just sucked up the plane?
Yeah.
And he was just, like, dumbfounded.
Yes,
like,
ma'am. Yes. Yeah. It is very much possible that within this universe...
yes. Yeah, we're actually...
It's not possible, lady. It's not.
The black hole came, it sucked up the plane, it tore the fabric. Oh, we went to a new plane of existence, like a parallel timeline.
Yeah.
So we're in the other time now, and then that's why we still know about the plane, but we're no longer there. Well, the plane's no longer here. Yeah, but the guy was just like, you're a fucking idiot. If there was a black hole, the entire universe, or at least our, like, galaxy would be, like, gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's... How can you... Some people, man, it's just... Oh... Don't be those people, listeners. Don't be those people.
No.
Please.
Beat them. We need to find the truth, even if it's black holes. Mysterious, tiny black holes.
Oh, it's just...
All right, so do we want to cover a couple of the conspiracy theorists and what they think happened?
Go. Shoot away.
All right, so I found one that says Captain Zahari Ahmed, which is Ahmed Shah, by the way. He parachuted out of the plane to meet his secret lover waiting on a boat. The theory was written about by journalist Ian Higgins in his book The Hunt for MH370, published. Why did I write that year down? Well, anyway, so the pilot parachuted out, and Higgins was apparently told that the pilot wanted to leave his wife, but feared it would be difficult because of his Muslim faith, and therefore designed an elaborate plan to escape his marriage. According to the wild theory, he took fake IDs to assume a new life, depressurized the aircraft to comatose or kill the passengers before jumping out at 3,000 feet and let the plane crash into the sea. Now, reports...
3,000 feet?
3,000 feet.
He'd be dead, wouldn't he? Like, the
if
plane's going that fast.
No, if he parachuted not. I don't think he would die
Wouldn't you be too close to the ground at that point? Like when you're going at like cruising speed?
If there's no tiny black hole opening up, you're probably fine.
True. And that's science, people.
Yeah. Now, the story has been branded sensational, quote unquote, and also, quote unquote, far-fetched.
Oh, jeez. Put a lot of thought into those quotes.
Yeah. Now, another popular explanation also involves a sudden cabin depressurization. But in this case, it was thought to be an accident. Aviation expert Christine Negroni believes Captain Shah may have been on a break at the time, with co-pilot Farik Abdul Hamid at controls, meaning he was the only one left alive, flying the plane alone for hours before crashing. The sudden lack of oxygen would have killed all passengers and crew within 15 minutes. However,
wouldn't the co-pilot have tried to turn around and go somewhere else?
Nah, if he knew where the airport was. This was a co-pilot, not a pilot. Let's remember Alex. Let's be realistic.
He's flying one of the world's biggest planes, doesn't know how to navigate at all.
Exactly. One day before becoming a pilot.
What does this instrument do?
I pushed this button.
Just remember, he was a pilot. Just he was about to finish for this particular plane.
This was one flight before he would have been an actual pilot.
No, but only the pilot for the Boeing 777. He was allowed to fly other planes, so he still knew how to fly.
Yeah. Its worst effect was in the cockpit. Negroni claimed that while still alive, Hamid's oxygen-starved brain would have led him to make a series of bizarre decisions, explaining the erratic route it took after closing contact before finally ditching somewhere in the Indian Ocean, which is like you just go through all that trouble and finally you're just saying, fuck it. I'm done.
But still, that theory doesn't make sense because someone still turned off everything manually.
We don't know. It's to be fair here, we don't know if anything was or wasn't turned off manually.
We don't know for sure. That's true.
Yeah, but we already concluded that the chance of an electrical abruption or something putting out both circuits, because
it was basically impossible.
Yeah, it was basically impossible.
That's the problem with all these conspiracy theories, is that the only thing we have 100% sure is where it was. That's it. Everything outside of that is conjecture. So you can't come in and say like, oh, well, this happened or this happened. There are cases in which most likely shit happened, and there are but still, most likely, even if you're 99% sure, it might have been the 1%.
And another hole in that theory with like the depressurizing and the co-pilot making being deprived of oxygen and making weird decisions.
Yeah.
Why did the flight take the extra route to visit the pilot's old city?
But the thing was, that is exactly the maneuver to go back to the island where the guy was from, like the home city, might have just been a coincidental accident. It might have just been the guy thinking, like, I have to go that way, and his brain lacking oxygen, just figuring shit out as long as he go. It might have been just a misfire of like, oh, I have to go there. And
but I thought you said it was the co-pilot and not the pilot.
Yeah, it was the co-pilot.
Because you said the pilot was knocked out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But why would the co-pilot go to the pilot's hometown?
Nobody knows. If
Andy didn't make up this theory.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just still poking.
Don't ask me the tough questions, Ali. Fuck.
Jesus.
I'm still on the alien boat. Now, another theory which I found so lovely was the remote cyber hijacking.
Yeah.
There's this book called Beneath Another Sky: A Global Journey into the History. Historian Norman Davies, I think it was, said
Davies.
Technology designed to prevent another 9/11 style terror attack by allowing planes to be controlled remotely could have been exploited by cyber spooks. Now, this guy suggests that MH370, which was equipped with Boeing Honeywell uninterpretedly autopilot onboard computer, could have been hacked and then reprogrammed and flown to a secret location. This guy told the Sunday Times the plane may have been carrying sensitive material or personnel to Beijing. There are reports that the cargo detailed in the manifest didn't, quote unquote, add up, and don't know what it might have been carrying, but it may have been carrying something somebody didn't want to get to China.
The fruit.
Fruit, yeah. It was the fruit. It was a fruit.
Yeah, this one's great because they filed a patent in like 2003 to make like a autopilot that cannot be overridden.
Yeah. And
so
then
if the plane got hijacked, they would turn on the autopilot remotely and the plane would fly itself back to instead of so even if you grab the controls and shake them.
Yeah, this is what's great about conspiracy theories. Like the world makes your place a safer place, and then conspiracy thinks no, like it's hackable. It's fucking they can take it anytime they want.
Imagine being these people though, like everything in the world is just out to get you.
Yeah,
it must be what it's like to be like a human chihuahua. You're just like, the world's a scary place.
Yeah, and they
conspiracies.
Bark just as loud as well.
Yep. There's also a great one that circulated on Reddit, so we know it's true, and this is the real fact.
Yeah.
The plane had sufficient fuel to get to North Korea.
Yeah.
So therefore it was hijacked by the North Koreans, because in 1969,
of course,
the Koreans actually did hijack another plane from Korea Airlines. And why did they steal it? Because allegedly there was a nuclear warhead on board in the cargo hold.
Oh, God,
so
okay.
Kim Jong-un's just chilling there.
And maybe North Korea got
you can
little...
make the fruit into nuclear power.
Maybe the uranium...
But maybe North Korea got a little bit hungry and they wanted all that fruit to feed their people or their president.
Yep. Very possible.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's much more plausible, to be honest.
Well, one of the perhaps the most prosaic explanations out there is cracks in the plane. Now, actually, this is somewhat believable. There's a theory as to why the plane went down does not center around a conspiracy at all, but a well-documented faults with the plane that could have led to it crashing. Now, you gotta know, if they're investigating a crash site without an actual plane to investigate or a black box to investigate, what they tend to do is that look at the same model of planes and look at its faults. Like, what are its faults? What does it do? What do we know? And how could that situation have happened with the faults that we know are? Because at this point, they're not going by the 99% assurance, because if they went by the 99%, it would have landed in its designated location.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 6 months before the MH370 disappeared, the U.S. aviation watchdog warned airlines of a problem with cracks in Boeing 777 that could lead to mid-air breakup or a catastrophic drop in pressure. The Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, as we all know it, issued a final warning just 2 days before MH370 disappeared, after one airline found a 15-inch crack in the fuselage. Can we look up in non-retard measurements what that is? 15 inches?
15 inches is like almost 40 centimeters, I would say. 15 inches to centimeters, it is 38.1.
Yeah. So a 40 centimeter crack in the fuselage of one of its planes. However, the Daily Mirror says Boeing said that the FAA alert did not apply to the missing jet because it did not have the same antenna as the rest of the Boeing 777s. Further fueling other conspiracy theories, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one as well that I found somewhat plausible. You know, same antenna or not doesn't have anything to do. They sometimes make the same models out of the same materials, and then like they change a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I mean, they make the same model for like 20 years, so they usually they change a couple of things here and there, and or modify them to the airline's particular taste.
Yeah. Then we come to the Cambodia Theory. Have you heard about that one?
I have not.
All right, so in 2018, a British video producer claimed to have spotted the aircraft's remains in Cambodia using images from Google Maps, which we all know is definite proof.
It is, yeah.
Now, they were dated for that year. Ian Wilson claimed to have found the remains deep in the Cambodian jungle, producing images that show what appears to be a plane about 70 meters long. The actual plane is officially measured as being 63.7 meters long, so not that far off.
Pretty close, yeah.
Now, this Wilson guy told the Daily Mirror, measuring the Google sightings, you're looking at around 69 meters, but there looks to be a gap between the tail and the back of the plane, just slightly bigger. There's a gap that would probably account for that. Now, this Wilson guy said that he planned to visit the jungle in order to prove his theory. Wilson has never been heard of again. Has never been heard of again, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's sitting there with Tom Hanks on a fucking island.
Yep. Talking to a ball with a hand.
Yep, exactly. I mean, I think I remember actually the news when that guy came out and said that. Like, just watching the news, and it's like, oh, man thinks he found plane. But like, if they crashed,
familiar.
But if they crashed in the
found plane,
if they crashed in the jungle, like, wouldn't it have been a bit
news
more
article? Just a guy standing in front of a plane pointing.
I found it.
I found that plane.
But no, but seriously, like, if it crashed into the in dense jungle in Cambodia,
yeah,
why is it only in kind of like two pieces? You'd kind of think, especially if it had a lot of fuel on board, that shit would have just like erupted in a fireball.
With a controlled landing, that, you know.
Yeah. But someone would have noticed, surely. Military radar. And then how did the Malaysians find out a military radar on the other side of Malaysia? Did they then go north again, back up to Cambodia over Thailand or something?
Why not? They weren't going anywhere in the first place, so...
Just doing squiggly ones? Just like, it's like me playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, just pretending I know what I'm doing?
Anybody want to stop by the McDonald's in Cambodia? It's like totally good.
Anyone want nuggets? Let's go. Yeah, there's just so many stupid ones. There's also one that tries to connect it to an Indonesia Air Asia flight that crashed later that year. And people think it's actually the same plane. So, like, they took the MH370 plane, they, like, landed it and, like, rebranded it and then flew it on a different route later in the year that then crashed. And you're like, why? Why would they do that?
Just cause, buddy. Just cause.
And it's so dumb, right? Because the airline they claim it was flying for is also owned by Malaysia Airlines. So they're going to irreparably like damage their reputation.
Yeah.
To then go for their budget airline and then reuse the plane there. Like, it doesn't add up. Like,
Yeah.
How do people... It's like they sniffed a bunch of glue, drank some bleach, and then just wrote stuff on the internet.
It's the only way to make a proper conspiracy theory.
True. Or like huffing some hobo shit.
Yeah.
Like sitting in a bag, huffing that fermented feces. And one last one from me is there's also technology writer Jeff Wise developed a theory that the satellite data points, remember in episode 2, we talked about how they had the 7 satellite pings right after they went dark.
Yeah.
That they were a false trail that was spoofed by a hijacker who somehow hijacked the plane from the electronic and equipment bay.
Yeah.
So they were someone that was very familiar with the aircraft, and they played around to lead the plane satellite information terminal, basically wrong information, so it was adjusting the frequency for the satellite pings incorrectly to sort of throw them off. And instead of going south into the Indian Ocean, they went north all the way across southern Asia with no one noticing them, landed at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
And apparently no one noticed them.
Just cause, yeah.
Yeah, just because they wanted to go to Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Still, doesn't make sense, because how did no one notice them? Like,
It makes no sense.
But there's so much out there. There's like an Indonesian Bermuda Triangle one as well.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
I think the most likely one is that the pilot had, there were rumors that he had a mistress and that he was a bit unhappy at home.
Well, I think that's the most sensational one. I don't think that's the most, reliable one.
The most probable, though. Either one of the two pilots did something. Like, I don't think the plane cracked in half.
I genuinely think that this guy was sick of his life and was just, fuck it.
Yeah, but the mistress is just like an added thing onto the thing. Like,
that's what I mean. She was like one of the causes or whatever. Like the build up to him. Like, she wasn't the cause of this, but it was just one thing on top of the other. As well, he was the pilot was a very strong supporter of, I think he's now the president of Malaysia.
Yeah.
But at the time he was, or prime minister, I think they have. But at the time he just got arrested and sent to jail for sodomy because he was homosexual. And he was a very staunch supporter of that guy, and he was the opposition leader at the time.
I think it was like the day before the flight.
Yeah, it was 2 days before or a week before that
flight.
And that guy is now prime minister of Malaysia, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But the pilot was a very big supporter of him. Then you add on his mistress. Maybe his wife found out, or the mistress was going to tell his wife.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The theory around the mistress is that they apparently broke it off a month before this whole incident, but the day before the flight, she sent him a text. And there was something in that text that apparently, it woke some suspicion. It looked a bit weird. Obviously, I don't know what the text said, but...
Also, for a guy that likes to ram it up the ass, being a gay boy and all that, he does like to have 2 women by the side?
No, that is the No, it was his cousin that was running for prime minister that he was backing up.
Yeah.
That he was the gay guy.
Is that a sexual innuendo? Backing up his cousin?
No, it's just a fact.
It's just a fact. And he stood behind. I'm pretty sure they were family.
I've backed up a couple of people in my lifetime.
Oh, shut up, Andy.
Okay, but
the most amazing one out there still has to be aliens.
No.
It's the Pleiadians. It's the Pleiadians. You gotta know, it's the Pleiadians. The thing is, the first thing I did when Alex said, "All right, so episode 1 is gonna be this. Episode 2 is gonna be like the full fucking facts. It's not gonna be anything else." I was like, "All right, well, if you want to get all serious with this shit.
So you got sick on that one, obviously.
Yeah. I just didn't want to be here
You deliberately
for the
smoked 45
explanation.
cigarettes
Yeah.
a day in the build-up, so your voice was a bit coarse, and you're like, I can't do it.
No, I actually I listened back to the episode. I thought it was very lovely and a great episode. I think I even texted you guys about that.
Yeah, you did.
The thing is, the first thing I did when he said, all right, episode 3 is going to be about all the conspiracy theories. One, I was holding my penis in my hand like 2 seconds after that because I was so happy. 2, I screamed at another Asian lady on a train because that's what I do when I do alien shit. And 3, the first thing I Googled was flight MH370 UFO or alien. And, you know... At first, I was like, "Oh fuck! There's nothing here. How can that? Like, how can conspiracy theories not fucking jump on that train like a motherfucker?" But there is shit out there about aliens and UFOs being involved in
Abducting the plane or whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh god, I don't feel regretful for believing in aliens a lot, but you know, when you see shit like that, you have to think to yourself, and you have to be like, you know what, fucking priorities, man. If you go that far in your alien beliefs, then you're a fucking dick. It's all
You belong in a padded cell.
I'm not even. I was thinking about covering them. I'm not even gonna give them a second of this show. I'm not doing it.
Good. It's an insult to the intelligence.
It's absolutely, yeah, exactly.
And we did an episode about shit like 4 episodes ago.
By the way, did you know I checked this out on YouTube? Our most viewed YouTube episode is the one about sissies.
Yeah,
You remember
they
the one?
backed us up.
The one
Yeah.
that we did is about sissies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That was
the
a good
most viewed episode. Yeah, it was fun to do
was.
that. But yeah, so aliens, it's not aliens. It's not. It's not.
No.
It's just not.
It's just, let's face it.
I know you
one
want it to
actually
be.
knows.
I want to give it to the guys that actually came up with this theory for wanting it too bad to use 239 dead people as proof of aliens. I know you want it that bad, but no, you can't have it.
No, it's...
Can't have it this time.
I mean,
know.
the conclusion here really should be no one knows. Like,
No
at all.
one.
Like, nothing whatsoever.
Thank you for listening to 3 fucking episodes of this shit. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten any further to the truth. We just stated what is out there all along.
To be honest, I never
We
planned to get closer to the
contributed
truth.
Nothing.
Well, we contributed by educating other people
I guess
about
that's
nothing.
true. I guess that's true.
So now they know as little as we do and as the
Yeah.
investigators do. So therefore, the world is a better place.
Yeah. No, but it is, you know what? Say what you will, it is an interesting case.
It is. It's just...
MH370. And I do believe, and this is where I live. It's because there's so much conspiracy involved in this. You know, there's so many possibilities of what might have happened.
Well, I read a great quote. I can't remember who it was from, but it was like a psychologist about why, on this particular case, why are there so many conspiracy theories? And he was just like, because the governments from the start, like the Malaysian government, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
They didn't release information properly. They weren't telling the public stuff. And they're like, the second you do that, you open the door for conspiracy. And people have an inherent, like, you want to put a reason to something happening.
And it doesn't have to be a week, a fucking day. Wait a day to say something, and they'll say, like, in the first 24 hours of this airplane fucking being missed. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, and I was like, he's exactly right, because people feel the need. You have to have a reason for something, right? Like, a plane doesn't just disappear, and we know it doesn't, but no one knows why, so we're just gonna... It just opens the door to these theories, and it is exactly... And it's because of the governments. They dropped the ball, and they have mixed messaging. Yeah. If you read different reports at different points in time, one says one thing, then they say another. Yeah. It just...
And you have different people chiming in saying that they have conflicting things.
Oh yeah, you have so many expert pilots. You know, one guy they're looking in the right spot, the wrong spot. One guy they flew to fucking Kazakhstan. The other guy they like flew to Diego Garcia.
That is all conspiracy. But then you have, for example, like I'm talking when it comes to like higher ups, like people that in a sense are there for us to look up to. They are the ones that we entrust a life with. We want them. Yeah. They're the ones leading our countries.
Yeah, like politicians.
Politicians. Yeah. So obviously, like, for example, in the other 60 Minutes that I was talking about, you have Tony Abbott just saying, like...
Former Australian Prime Minister. Once ate an onion with the skin on raw, so when he got fired from office, Australians put onions out in the door for him in his honour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for example, he was saying, like, he knew, like, he's like, I got information straight away that this was suicide. Like, and he's like...
Yeah.
Directly from the Malaysian government.
Yeah. Well, they
like,
to what? Like...
So, like, they're talking stuff to each other that they're not sharing with the investigation, that they're not sharing with the public. It just builds mistrust, and people will try to figure shit out themselves.
And it goes further. Like once that ball is spinning, the conspiracy ball is spinning. Like I know for a fact, because I've been through so many fucking rabbit holes, like investigating different sort of stuff, and like everybody knows, like, I love aliens, but like even in aliens there's no clear picture of what the fuck is going on. Everybody just goes on its crazy own, and like on the one hand I sort of like that because it gives me the opportunity to go down those rabbit holes. On the other hand, you know, it keeps away from the truth. I think it's the same thing with COVID. You remember when we were talking to the throwback episode where I said, like, at one point I'm at one side and on the other point I'm on the conspiracy theorist side?
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's hard to see the forest through the trees, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, make of it what you want. I think the most plausible, you know, explanation for what happened is that a person was depressed, wasn't in a very good mental state, and decided to make some wrong decisions, even though he had the life of 239 people in his hands, which some of you might find incredible. But if you've never been in a dark place as depression, which I have had, I mean, Ali was there with me when I was going through it. I've seen dark moments in my life, and giving a shit about another person is very hard, even if that person's life depends on it. Yeah, I mean, a mental breakdown or like a depression is a very selfish and dark place to be at. Which, you know, and if it was a comfortable place to be at, there wouldn't have been so much outpour on help and all that shit throughout the entire world. So, yeah.
And obviously to add to the that part about there being so many people on the flame, because usually when you think, but if you want to kill yourself, just do it by yourself. And don't be so fucking selfless and just like...
You mean selfish.
Selfish, yeah. But it also comes in part, like with mania and stuff like that, it can be like a grandiose feeling that, if I'm going out, at least I'm taking these people with me. And we don't obviously know what the fuck's going on in this person. Like, if this is what actually happened, obviously we still don't know.
Yeah, but there is a possibility.
It like, pretty much everything indicates to it that he was the one, like, either one of the pilots did it.
One thing that you could compare it to is a spree killer. This is exactly what a spree killer would do. A spree killer is a guy that just loses it and just goes on a killing spree. Yep. Except this guy didn't go on a spree. He just, did a couple of maneuvers and did it all at once. He did one thing and took out a couple of people, You never know what's going on.
Same thing with school shootings. It's like usually the kid just wants to...
But I think...
The goal is to kill themselves, but they want to take out as many people, even people that didn't necessarily put them in that place.
Yeah.
They just want to send out a fucking message.
Yeah. I think that's the most, like, the final point, really, that matters at the end of the day is that 239 39 people died, and like they have
Victims.
families that still don't know like
I
what
think
happened
we can
to,
safely call them victims.
Yeah,
at
like-
this point.
like what happened to my mother, brother, son, daughter, grandpa, whatever. Like they don't know, and that is at the end of that's the worst part, I guess, of all of it is
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that you just don't have them anymore, but you don't know, you can't give them a burial because you don't have a body. You don't even know how they died. Like and that, I think, to sort of finish on it's going to be a downer note, but that really is the
No, but isn't that better than knowing what happened? Wouldn't you be happier not knowing than knowing that the guy
No.
that was flying the plane went apeshit and just killed your mom or
But
your
then
dad
at least
or
you
your
know what
brother or-
happened. You can you can rationalize. We as people,
Exactly.
we need to rationalize why things happen, and we need to understand why they happen. It's like, okay, your grandma died because she was sick in cancer, and the cancer slowly ate away at her body. She needed to rest. You understand that, you rationalize that. But it's harder when accidents happen, for example. Like for people, it's so hard to get over that when
so.
you don't know why shit happens or when accidents happen. Like,
and it's also
takes a lot longer for people.
and people want something to say be angry at.
Yeah,
but
they want to
can't,
have a
like,
reason.
Is it the airline? Is it the government? Is it the pilot? Is it some terrorist on board? We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the grieving process, is to be angry at something.
Yeah, you need to rationalize your pain and your anger and have to be able to direct it, not necessarily like
At
lash it out
something.
at someone, but like even in your thoughts, you need to be able, okay, I know this person is responsible. I hate this person.
If
and
you
that
don't
hate
have that
can
one
get
thing,
you
you're
get
just
over.
shooting bullets without a target, I guess, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know what? So I think we can safely back out of this subject for now and say, you know what? Our theory is that this guy had some problems and decided to take actions which nobody else would have agreed with, but he did them anyway because who knows? But it goes to show once again is that when you're struggling with something or when you're going through a hard time, reach out to anybody,
Yeah, exactly.
a professional. And you know what? I think Alex, Ali, and myself are more than adult enough. We kid around a lot on the show, and I tend to like make fun of like all sorts of shit. But at the end of the day, I'm a good guy. If you're in need of help or you feel you're in a mentally very bad place, then you can reach out to us, and we can look for help in your area. For example, that's one of the things we could do because like the At Random podcast is still a place where we want to do good for people, and like if you feel you're in need for that, and hop on the Discord server, link in the description down below. You can talk to us and tell us your shit, unload on us, and we'll try and help you the best way we can. There's Twitter,
We live in a very big world, but it's still at the same time very small. It can feel very small at times.
yeah, and also there's a lot accessible for us. It's not because you're in America and I'm in Belgium that I can't find a licensed therapist for you from Belgium. If you yourself are scared to reach out, you can always contact us and we'll reach out for you. We'll try to help you where we can.
Talk to a stranger sometimes just helps.
Yeah.
Different opinion.
It can.
And also, if you're not the one impacted, but you know someone that is, like, ask them how they're doing, and not just like, oh, like, how was work or how, like, a generic, but really ask them like, how are you doing, and be supportive.
Yeah, we all go through the same shit every day. We all have to work for a boss that doesn't like us for money that
we're not
we
all
don't.
Elon Musk, unfortunately.
We're all we
can just buy whatever you want.
We're
whatever
just
you
poor
want whenever you
fucking
want.
sheep. We're poor fucking sheep. That's what we are. And
And on that note, Ali, where can they find us on Instagram?
So at Instagram, we are @random.podcast. So at.random.podcast.
And on Twitter, we are AT_randompod. And I hope you enjoyed this 3-parter. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Moving on. And yeah, I guess we'll chat to you next time. I'm getting your earballs.
yep, there you go.
Deep inside them.
All right, let's give them the good old bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.